Cyberpunk 2077 is without a doubt one of, if not the most anticipated upcoming titles. It's coming from CD Projekt Red, and whenever they put out a game, you know it's gonna be of a certain quality. We saw the excellence they brought with The Witcher 3, and if you played the other Witcher games, of course, from an RPG development standpoint, not many developers hold a candle to CD Projekt Red. They are just at a very high level, and it's easy to see why even a new IP like Cyberpunk 2077, way ahead of us even seeing gameplay of the title, gamers were just inherently excited for the game. But now we actually have some substantial information about the game, and I want to go over 30 things that you need to know about Cyberpunk 2077. A lot to go over, so let's get right into it. Number 1, context and lore. Cyberpunk 2077 is set in the futuristic world of Night City, a bustling metropolis located on the coast of North California. It's a dystopian city where violence and oppression is the norm. And if you're familiar with CD Projekt Red games, you know that developing interesting threads of narrative is of utmost importance. We know that the main character's apartment is located inside a mega building, a huge building complex that forms a micro-society of its own. In the timeline of the game, technology and the world have evolved in some ways that seem familiar and realistic, but also other ways that would come across a bit surprising. Every little detail in the game is said to be rooted, so everything has a purpose and stays believable within the context of the world. Number 2, character customization. The next few entries will be all about customization, and you'll be able to go in depth and design how exactly your character looks. A level of depth that you don't see in many games. You'll have an array of different options to modify how you look, from body type, hairstyle, skin tone, tattoos, makeup, and specifically they said many more, so expect a ton more on top of that. We see things such as eye mods, skin mods, surface wiring, bodily scars, location of tattoo placement, adjustment of light color, glow color, makeup, piercings, etc. Number 3, character class system. On top of all of that, you'll also be able to modify your character's initial statistics. Cyberpunk specifically touts a fluid class system. You're not picking a class from the get-go, rather it's ever evolving to your discretion. Some of the stats you can modify from the get-go are strength, constitution, intelligence, reflexes, tech, and cool. Number 4, backstory of main character. Character customization is a big element of a lot of games, but Cyberpunk tries to take it to the next level. Not only do you have your standard choices of character appearance, and then you have your stats, but you also specifically design the backstory of your character. Some of the things that were noted in the gameplay reveal and possible selections were childhood hero, a key life event. The 3 selections were death of sibling, ran away from home, and first big kill, and why you're at Night City. Those included unfinished business, an ex-lover in town, and something to prove. What you choose here will directly impact the game and unlock possibilities later in the game. Number 5, it's a first-person RPG. This game is a first-person RPG, and it looks like that'll be the case throughout the game, unlike The Witcher, which is played from a third-person perspective. As far as traditional movement, shooting, and everything of that sort, that will be in first-person, and it was said the game was in first-person to allow for a maximum level of immersion. Number 6, stealth and gameplay. Cyberpunk 2077 is played like a first-person shooter, but unlike a lot of first-person RPGs, what you see in Cyberpunk from a gameplay standpoint looks incredibly robust. And even though the role-playing mechanics are in their full effect, it seems like there has also been a great amount of effort put towards the gameplay. And it won't be a run-and-gun first-person shooting affair. We know that there will be options in how you approach the game, and right at the beginning of the demo, you see stealth takedowns being implemented. We do see some high-octane shooting gameplay, however. All your traditional mechanics are there, including crouching, reloading, and I must say, everything has been animated very fluidly. And it looks super responsive, so good on CDPR for that. Other gameplay elements include the ability to use a reflex booster that'll allow you to use abilities temporarily. We saw a slow motion ability being used in the gameplay demo. Number 7, you can jack into other people. Your character is able to tap into other characters' biomonitor data panels. We see the main character do this on a character named Sandra Dorset, displaying age, gender, blood type, and a membership which is labeled as platinum. On top of that, it displays various status conditions, namely a warning icon popped up saying 78 out of 132 life functions at risk, applying internal med pump failure, error 003 resources depleted. At the same time, a virus was blocking signal. It turned out to be a shard that the main character removed, and that led the biomonitor panel to continue. Eventually, Trauma Team, a high-end premium medical insurance, came and rescued her because a signal was sent out by the main character V. Number 8, Shards. We just mentioned Shards a while ago, and speaking of Shards, your character can also slot in Shards to him or herself. We see V take a shard from Dexter, and it essentially acts as a mission briefing for what's to come, included with several visual aids. Number 9. Cyberpunk 2077 has a world that will interact with the main character. Character interactions, relationships, and overall world building of Night City looks to be a big element of Cyberpunk 2077. Specifically, we were told that the game is a mature, visceral experience and it will let you explore a variety of different interactions within the game world and its people. A world that is very interactive with your character. After the first mission, you see a male character character leaving a bed where your female main character in V was sleeping. Another example is when V is roaming the streets of Night City and an advert is modified automatically when V approaches it, so it's tailored for V, informing her of the nearest vendor she can purchase the product from. Those are just a few of the interactions that the world is going to have with you. Number 10. City streets, and there are so many people. When you head into the city streets, it's pretty incredible to see all of the NPCs on screen at once. The crowd and community systems in the game have been greatly enhanced to create the most believable city in an open world game to date. People are everywhere, living their own life from all facets of life, and of course, Cyberpunk 2077 will feature a full day and night cycle that will also directly impact the game's world. Night City is this big, vibrant open world, and it's for you to explore at your leisure and freedom, and also however you want to do it. Sure, you can go on foot and that's fine, but you can also use different cars, bikes, and that won't be all. There will be other types of vehicles that weren't specified and will be revealed later. Number 11. Random encounters. When you're exploring, it won't be stagnant either. Random encounters will take place when roaming the world. In the demo, we had the scavengers from earlier on in the demo come after the player while driving around. At that point, you can have your AI partner take the wheel while you shoot back and repel them. Number 12. Gangs. We know there will be various gangs that inhabit the world of Cyberpunk 2077. In the demo, we're introduced to the Maelstrom gang. This gang is obsessed with body modifications that are way beyond what is deemed normal in Cyberpunk society. Number 13. Dialogue and choices. As to be expected, Cyberpunk 2077 will feature a host of different dialogues and choices. These dialogues are fully gameplay driven. We see a deal meetup and you can choose to play along or to take the gun and start a shootout. At the entrance of a quest, you're also given choices about how you want to proceed. Go in guns blazing or talk to them and work something out. And there is a section of the demo where you are in a trapped room and you're given multiple ways to escape. One option is to hack your way out, but the character isn't leveled enough in hacking to use that in the demo. 14. Music and presentation. Night City has a very unique look to it. From the city itself, the music, we hear a song on the radio and that's by rocker boy Johnny Silverhand, which by the way, if you go back to the beginning of the character customization page, you'll notice that when designing your character's backstory, he is one of the options you have for your childhood hero, so that's something interesting to note. The creative process was said to, quote, draw inspiration from the pen and paper system created by Mike Pondsmith and to put our own 2077 spin on it. Number 15. Gear. When leaving your apartment, you can select the gear you take with you. Specifically, V took her trusty pistol and then more interestingly, the jacket she selected. Now, of course, it offers you some protective stats just like any armor would, but it also offers you street cred in the game's world. We'll talk more about street cred in a little bit. Specifically with the samurai jacket, you see it increases street cred leveling system by 5%. It has a physical resistance of 30, a thermal resistance of 30, EMP resistance of 30, and chemical resistance of 30. Number 16. Street cred. We just mentioned street cred and I said we would get more into it, so let's talk about it. Street cred is one of the more influential elements in all of Cyberpunk 2077. It's a form of experience the player gets by completing side missions. It's then used to unlock new vendors and content throughout Night City. After completing a mission, we see that the player's street cred level went up to level 2, and underneath that, it also says new perk points were available, so it'll be interesting to see how those perks are applied in the game. Number 17. Chips. You also have the ability to equip chips that allow to perform certain things. In the demo, we had a chip that allows you to control a spider bot that follows you around, and I'm sure there will be a ton more chips for the player to utilize. Number 18. Tech weapons. We're also introduced to a unique type of weapon located from a chest, tech weapons. They fire rounds that shoot through walls and other types of cover. They also have an alternate fire mode that allows you to power up your shots and deal more damage. Number 19. The Ricochet Targeting System. There's also a weapon module in the game called the Ricochet Targeting System. This allows you to bounce bullets off the wall and hit enemies hiding in cover. A little bit of an extra layer to your traditional FPS gameplay. That's definitely a cool addition. Weapons are built off of these various modules and allow for deep customization and progression. Number 20. Smart guns. Another type of weapons you'll have at your disposal are smart guns. These are more advanced weapons that allow bullets to track and follow their targets. Number 21. Limb targeting. You'll be able to focus in on various limbs to enhance your effectiveness in combat. Several times throughout the demo, we see legs being shot at with a shotgun. Number 22. Combat enhancing software. You'll also be able to utilize software in combat that disables and affects the enemy squad. In the demo, we saw software reducing aiming, disabling their cyberware, etc. On top of that, you'll be able to jack into an enemy's network. Once you're jacked in, you have access to everything it connects to. 23. Double jump. In the demo, we can also see our character double jump, dodge side to side, and bounce off walls. It wasn't clear if that was something we have to level up or a body augmentation. It was just clearly visible during combat. 24. Ripper docks and cyberware. Around the midway point of the demo, we're also introduced to a Ripper dock, who are specialist vendors that offer people the possibility to install or upgrade their various cyberware. In the demo, a Ripper dock named Victor installs an upgrade to V. V gets both an optical scanner and a subdermal weapon grip, but there looks to be several other upgrades that are available to purchase, all with the use of the in-game currency eddies, a slang term for Euro dollars. As she's getting upgraded, V lays her arm down, and with a bit of anti-static, her hand is cut into and upgrades are directly installed. The scanner that was installed allows her to zoom in onto things and take a closer look, and on top of that, with it you can analyze objects, get details on enemy weak points, or gang affiliations. As far as the subdermal weapon grip, that links to the scanner, and now you can see weapon information like ammo count and fire modes, and it increases the base damage of the connected weapons. Ripper docks also operate legally and illegally. The black market Ripper docks can install illegal military-grade cyberware, which you can obviously expect to be more powerful. Number 25, enemies. The enemies will range in size and difficulty. While some will be your standard enemies that you see early on in the demo and you can quickly dispose of, some will be larger in scale and also have exosuits and shields equipped. Number 26, inspection system. In Cyberpunk 2077, you'll have to utilize the inspection system, so it's not just about finding a key item, taking it over there, rinse and repeat. You'll have to actually take a closer look at the items in your inventory, and you'll have to inspect those specific items that reveal details to help solve your quest. Number 27, no loading screens. During the narration of the Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay demo, it was stated that while Night City is a very alive city with so much interaction and things going on the screen, CD Projekt Red are hard at work to build this world to be a fully realized and seamless open world with no loading screens whatsoever. Given the scope of the game, that seems like a hard feat to accomplish, and honestly for me a little hard to believe, but it's CDPR, and in this case I'm definitely gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because I know how talented of a studio they are. Next up, a lot of you guys are wondering when we're actually gonna be able to play Cyberpunk 2077. It's probably not gonna be for quite a while. However, it has been confirmed that the game will be out by 2021. More importantly, outside of Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red is actually working on another RPG that's gonna release after Cyberpunk, and that'll be out before 2021 as well. When you put it that way, that makes you think that the game has to be out either this year, which I find a little hard to believe, but I wouldn't completely rule it out, or it'll be a 2020 game. I think more likely than not it'll be a 2020 title. However, that begs the question, is CD Projekt Red really gonna release another RPG just 1 year after Cyberpunk 2077? That could be a possibility, but if you think you're gonna have to wait another 4 or 5 years for the game, that won't be the case. It should be out before 2021, and more likely than not either 2019, so later this year, or I think more likely it'll be out 2020. Next up, we've already seen a substantial amount of gameplay of the title thanks to that 50-minute gameplay demo that CD Projekt Red dropped of the game, but we haven't seen Cyberpunk 2077 in action in quite a while. So when's the next time you're actually going to be able to see the game? Well, it's going to come at this year's E3. I think heading into E3 as we get closer and closer, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be one of the hotly anticipated games that everyone wants to see, and especially with the fact that Sony and EA are missing out on E3 this year, all eyes are going to be on Cyberpunk 2077, and it has a big platform to really shine at E3 of this year. And my speculation is that we've already seen a lot of gameplay of the title with that big demo that they dropped. Gamers are already sold on the game. I think to really take E3 by storm, you have to announce some sort of release date or release window, whether it be fall of this year, whether it be early 2020, whether you just give us a window of 2020, something to ease our minds a little bit, I think would help out a lot. And personally speaking, again, just speculation, I do think that's going to come E3, but we will see more of Cyberpunk 2077 this June. And lastly, Cyberpunk 2077 is a massive game. CD Projekt Red is working hard on it, but how many people are exactly working on it? Over 400 developers. This came directly from Carolina Noss, Investor Relations Director at CD Projekt Red, saying the team working on Cyberpunk 2077 already has over 400 people, and if you want to get some insight on how the developers are approaching this game, there is an official video over on the PlayStation channel creating Cyberpunk. I would highly recommend you to check that video out. It's not a lot of gameplay, but rather developers giving insight on their work on the title, and it's just a very interesting insight into the development of one of the biggest games that gaming has honestly ever seen. So I would highly recommend you to check out that video. However, just know that 400 people are working tirelessly to bring Cyberpunk 2077 to reality. And that is going to conclude this video. Again, Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most anticipated upcoming titles. It has so much potential and obviously so much hype, and a lot of times with that kind of hype, sometimes games do underdeliver, but in the case of this game, because it's CD Projekt Red, I'm confident that the game will deliver whenever it is released, again, most likely 2019 or 2020. That's gonna conclude this video. I'm sure most of you guys were already sold on Cyberpunk 2077, but I hope I got you a little bit more excited, especially as we head into E3 just 2.5 months away. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.